Lizzy Hamond. Birthday parties. They're supposed to be about cake, presents, and, happy memories. But sometimes a celebration can turn into a nightmare in the blink of an eye. This first one, this one is particularly brutal. Meet Lizzy Hammond, a sweet 9-year-old girl at a birthday party in Reno, Nevada on a hot summer day in July 2019. The centerpiece of the party was a big, colorful, inflatable water slide. You know the type. Kids bouncing, splashing, and a little pool at the bottom. Lizzy was there with her 2-year-old sister Abby and her 4-year-old brother Danny. Just a perfect summer day. And then the wind picked up. Not just a breeze, but a sudden, violent desert gust. Lizzy's mom, Wendy, saw the massive inflatable start to lift and screamed for the kids to get out. She managed to grab her toddler, Abby, trusting Lizzy, the responsible big sister, to help her little brother. But there was no time. The wind ripped the entire bounce house from the ground, knocking Wendy over. The whole structure, with Lizzy and Danny still inside, shot upwards, directly towards a set of high-voltage power lines. The cheerful, pastel-colored vinyl slammed against the dark, buzzing wires. The bounce house deflated, and the children fell. Lizzy didn't die from electrocution. She suffered massive blunt force trauma to her head when she hit the ground. She was rushed to the hospital, but the damage was too severe. Her parents described her injuries as astronomical. Skull fractures, a swollen face, internal bleeding. She died 2 days later, surrounded by her family. The most heartbreaking part? As she was kept on life support, the hospital staff formed an honor walk, lining the hallways as her bed was wheeled to the operating room. Her kidneys and liver were donated, saving the lives of 3 other children. Her family later started the Lizzy Hammond Foundation, pushing for Lizzy's Law to create stricter safety regulations for inflatables. And the owner of the bounce house? He didn't even get a fine. Cuba Libre Bar. From a backyard party to a nightclub. This next one happened in Rouen, France in August 2016. A group of friends are celebrating a 20th birthday in the basement of the Cuba Libre Bar. It's a small, cramped space, but it's their private party. The walls and the low ceiling are covered in foam for soundproofing. You can probably see where this is going. Just before 1 a.m., a young woman brings down the birthday cake. It's lit up with candles and those little fountain sparklers. As she's coming down the narrow staircase, she trips. The cake goes flying. The burning candles and sparklers land on the floor and roll against the foam-covered walls. The result was explosive. The foam, which was extremely flammable, ignited instantly. Because of the low ceiling and the small enclosed space, the fire spread with terrifying speed. Within seconds, the entire basement was a raging inferno, filled with thick, black, toxic smoke. There were about 20 young people, mostly between 18 and 25, packed into that tiny room. There was only one way out. The same narrow staircase the cake came down. Panic erupted. People were trampling each other in the dark, choking on the poisonous fumes, their lungs burning. Most of the victims didn't die from the flames. They died from asphyxiation. The fire department was there quickly, but by the time they put the fire out, 13 people were already dead. A 14th victim died later in the hospital. The scene in the basement was described as a charred, blackened box. Melted plastic dripping from the ceiling. The smell of burnt foam and death. It was the deadliest nightclub fire in France in over 40 years. And it all started with a birthday cake. A simple, happy tradition that, in the wrong place at the wrong time, turned into a death trap. The Helium Hit. Okay, this next one is different. It's a death that happened because of a party trick. A stupid, seemingly harmless party trick that everyone has seen, or maybe even done. But this time, it went horribly, horribly wrong. It's September 10th, 2022 in Te Puke, New Zealand. Faith Waterman Batistich, a 20-year-old mother of 2, is celebrating her youngest child's very first birthday. It's a happy, family-filled day. There are streamers, balloons, and a big helium cylinder in the corner to fill them up. At some point, the helium voice jokes start. You know, taking a puff from a balloon and talking like a chipmunk. It's dumb, but it's funny. Then, someone gets an idea. Why not inhale the helium directly from the cylinder? It'll be even funnier, right? Wrong. So wrong. Faith is hesitant at first, but she's eventually talked into it. Someone turns the valve on the industrial-grade cylinder. What comes out isn't a gentle puff of gas. It's a high-pressure, high-flow jet of pure helium. According to her twin sister, the stream shot out so fast it was like it went behind her neck, filling her lungs in a fraction of a second. She collapsed instantly. There was no lightheadedness, no giggling, just down. Her family, thinking it was a joke at first, quickly realized something was terribly wrong. They started CPR, they called for help. Paramedics worked on her for 45 minutes, but it was no use. She was gone. Here's the science. When you inhale from a balloon, you're getting a mix of helium and air. When you inhale directly from a pressurized tank, the helium displaces all the oxygen in your lungs. It literally pulls the oxygen out of your blood. Your brain is starved of oxygen, and you pass out in seconds. On top of that, the sheer pressure can cause barotrauma, rupturing the delicate air sacs in your lungs and causing you to drown in your own blood. It took just 0.2 seconds to deliver a fatal dose. A birthday party trick turned into an execution. The fairy cake. Some birthday challenges are just Darwin Awards waiting to happen. This one took place at a pub in Wales. It was a birthday-themed event, and one of the main attractions was a fairy cake eating contest. The rules were simple. Stuff as many of these little cupcakes into your mouth as you can, as fast as you can. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? A young man in his early 20s was all in. He was cramming cake after cake into his mouth, barely chewing, just swallowing them down. And then, one of them got stuck. He couldn't breathe. He couldn't speak. He started panicking, clutching at his throat. The fun, drunken atmosphere of the pub turned to horror in an instant. People rushed to help, but the cake was lodged deep in his airway. By the time paramedics arrived, it was too late. He had suffered irreversible brain damage from the lack of oxygen. Choking is a terrifying way to die. You're conscious, you're aware of everything, but you are completely helpless. A burning sensation in your throat, immense pressure in your chest, and the blackness closing in. All for a stupid, drunken contest. Over a cupcake. Jason Greenwood. This next one is a dad trying to be cool for his kids, and it ends in the most horrific way imaginable. It's January 2018. 46-year-old Jason Greenwood is at the Extreme Air Park in Richmond, Canada for a family outing. It's a massive indoor trampoline park filled with kids and music and neon lights. Jason, a stepfather to 3, decides to show off. He tells his family to film him as he attempts a front flip into a giant pit filled with foam blocks. You know, one of those dad does a trick moments. He gets a running start, bounces high on the trampoline, and launches himself into the air. But his rotation is off. Instead of landing on his back or his feet, he goes into the foam pit head first. And then, he doesn't come back up. He just disappears beneath the surface of the colorful foam blocks. At first, no one thinks anything of it. But after a minute, his family starts to get worried. Panic sets in. A group of people start frantically digging through the foam, while other kids are still jumping on the trampolines around them. The coroner's report later described it as a very chaotic scene. They finally find him, deep in the pit, upside down, his neck bent at an unnatural angle. He had suffered a high cervical spine fracture, which paralyzed him and stopped his breathing instantly. He was likely conscious for part of the 21 minutes it took for firefighters to get him out, trapped and suffocating under a sea of foam. The coroner stated that faster medical help could have saved him. The park staff had no first aid training. Their only instruction in an emergency? Call 911. Owen Carey. Our final story is a tragedy that could have and should have been avoided. It's April 22nd, 2017, and Owen Carey is celebrating his 18th birthday in London. He's out with his family and his girlfriend having a great day. Owen had severe food allergies his whole life, especially to dairy. He was always careful, always checking labels, always telling restaurant staff about his allergies. For lunch, the group goes to a popular chain, Byron Burger. Owen orders a plain grilled chicken burger. He tells the server explicitly about his dairy allergy and is assured the chicken is safe for him to eat. He takes one bite, just one, and he knows something is wrong. A tingling in his mouth, a tightness in his throat. The chicken, it turns out, had been marinated in buttermilk. He and his girlfriend leave the restaurant to continue his birthday celebration, heading towards the London Eye. But Owen's condition is getting worse. He's struggling to breathe, using his asthma inhaler over and over, but it's not helping. Near the London Eye, in front of crowds of tourists, he collapses. He was having a severe anaphylactic reaction. His airway was swelling shut. Paramedics arrived, but it was too late. He died right there, on the pavement, on his 18th birthday. All because a restaurant failed to take his allergy seriously. The coroner later ruled that Owen was misled by the menu. His family started a campaign for Owen's Law, demanding clear, mandatory allergen labeling on all restaurant menus. They didn't want any other family to go through what they did. A birthday that should have been a celebration of life became a memorial to a life cut tragically short.